Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me first help out some of my colleagues with what Warrior Ethos is. Warrior Ethos is prioritizing the warfighter so that they can guarantee that they have everything they need to do their job based on meritocracy, not based on diversity, equity, inclusion. And to go to another one of my colleagues who had made a comment that President Trump in the first administration didn't listen to the intelligence that was provided. Well, I would argue that the former Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness also didn't listen, which is why we had such a recruitment deficit. So we may want to talk about some of these things in a closed session anytime. I'd like to get to the panel, now that we've debunked some of the nonsense on this committee. How is AI going to contribute to our ability to thwart a lot of the cyber and a lot of the economic resource and supply chain warfare that China is engaged in? Lieutenant General Cross.
So I'll leave a little bit of the cyber piece for General Hartman because that's more of his bailiwick, but I would offer AI is the only way we're going to be able to sift through the large volumes of data that shows what adversary actors, foreign intelligence enterprise agencies, and foreign industry and research activity and what they're trying to deliver and what that technology is trying to deliver. AI is critical to help us synthesize that data and then tip and cue sort of the experts that we have, the STEM population that we have, to start to distill where is China taking their activities, and then how do we get ahead of that, either through supply chain work, through cybersecurity, and a variety of other areas. The key for me on AI, though, is you got to deploy it, you've got to trust it, and you've got to be able to do independent verification and validation of the outcomes of the AI back so you can trust it, it's authoritative. And
General Hartman, if you'll just kind of enlighten me on.
Yeah. Congressman, thanks for your question. The force that we face in China is significantly larger than ours, but our workforce is more talented. And our ability to arm that talented workforce with artificial intelligence is the way we get to scale as it relates to the China problem. We use it every day. We use it in all of our operations, and I would look forward to, in a closed session, to be able to cover that more in detail with you.
Thank you so much. You know, obviously the Indo-PACOM fight is one that we're eyeballing heavily with the potential unification of Taiwan, knowing that that would impact 92% of semiconductor and microchip capabilities. Also why it's so important to eliminate the double taxation on Taiwan and be able to do more onshoring, which is truly what the America First agenda is about, is American innovation, American workers, American solutions. But I'm not convinced necessarily, based on coastal defense plans, based on 7th Fleet capabilities, based on a hub-and-spoke strategy, that China's really willing to go all in on this strategy. I think economically it doesn't necessarily make for a sound strategy. They have too much to lose, I think, from an economics perspective, knowing their economy's far worse off than our own. I think that one of my big issues that I face is not understanding how the Directorate of Defense Trade Controls is holding $9 billion, however, of Taiwanese money for defense stuff that's not ever been exported. Is there any reason that you could think of why these types of goods and defense materials would be held as opposed to just getting them there to be more of that porcupine, that spiky sense to prevent China from even thinking it's a plausible 3-month strategy? And I'll let you, Mr. Gardwise, if you'd like to just anyone to hit on it. By the way, you're 100% correct on the Warrior Ethos stuff. Regardless of what our colleague might have said, that's exactly what the Secretary of Defense is doing right now, and that's exactly what we're getting back to, is the old days of be all you can be, which is what it was during my days in the Army.
Congressman, thank you. I am not familiar with that issue, and so I will, if I can take that for the record, we'd be glad to get back to you with a response.
And I would love to see the Pentagon put pressure on the State Department and DDTC to get those DSP-5 approvals and make sure we can export the necessary goods, because this wasn't even American. This isn't FMS or FFS money. This is $9 billion that came from Taiwan to buy goods like the Harpoon and other things in an effort to try and guarantee a more robust coastal defense plan. And so I'd love to see what that looks like. With that, I think a lot of my other questions are going to be more for the classified section, but I really appreciate your time and keep the Warrior Ethos running. With that, I yield back.